Hey folks, this is John with Ozarks Backroads with you again. We're back out in the woods. We're still on a search for a lost mine in a mining town. I've struck out. I've had goose eggs on 2 attempts to locate this site. Today's my 3rd attempt over here, 3rd trip over here. I've got some new information and I found a few things that I think are leading me in the right direction. We're on the mighty V-Strom today. We brought it out with us. So we're in Dent County, Missouri, which is kind of the northeastern section of the Ozarks. And we're looking for an iron mine. There are quite a few old iron mines up in this area of the Ozarks. There was a lot of volcanic activity in the past here, and it's brought some minerals to the surface. So there were some iron mines and some lead mines in this area. So we're looking for an old town that you know, it was abandoned in 1885 and the mine shut down in 1885. So we're going to take the V-Strom down in the woods and see if we can find this old mining town. We'll see if 3rd time's a charm. Stick around. We're still on the quest for this Nova Scotia mine and town site, and we're off on a new location today. This is my 3rd trip over here to Dent County, but I found some new evidence. I was looking in the wrong place, obviously. On my first 2 trips, I had read that there was a pipe that ran from the lake, or the little pond there, that they dammed up a spring and made a pond, and that was to supply water to the blast furnace for the smelting process. But there was a pipe that ran from that pond that they built. There's a creek down here in the bottom of the valley, and I read that you could find the pipe crossing through the creek. Well, I went and searched the creek and I did find the water pipe. We're back at it looking for this lost mine, this Nova Scotia Iron Mine. I'm way down in the woods off the trail. I'm in the bottom of a creek that is, it's said to run below the mine and the town. And I've read that you can find the pipe that ran from the little lake that they created for their water supply for the blast furnace. You can find that pipe where it crosses this creek. And I found the pipe here. And sure enough, it's still here. It's buried in the ground. Well, it's under tree roots and all kinds of stuff now, but back in the day, I would say it wasn't buried. It might have been just on top of the ground. But I found the water pipe where it crosses the creek, and I kind of took directions from the way the pipe was running and found that it wasn't heading towards the area I was searching. Pretty well convinced me that I was in the wrong area. This is another lake here, absolutely covered with water lilies. It's a lot bigger than the little pond that they built for their water source. It's on down the valley a little ways here. This one's much bigger. Totally covered with water lilies. Choked. You couldn't fish in that or nothing. There's no open water. We're going to continue on and see if we can find Nova Scotia mine and town site. And maybe the cemetery. I found an old map from a mining college in Rolla, Missouri. It's from 1902, the map was, and it was a map of all the mines in Missouri. And I pulled up Dent County, which is where we're at, and I found the Nova Scotia mine marked its location on this map from 1902. And sure enough, it was not where I was looking, but it was on down the valley here on the same side of the on the north side of Scotia Valley. I had been looking on the south side of Scotia Valley, so totally on the wrong side of the valley for sure. So we're going to go to the location marked on the map and take a look and see what we can find. We are really close to where this should be, to where it showed this being on the map. So I'm hoping there'll be a road off here to the left. Here's a road. Not really a road either. There's something there. We need to look at this. Look at this. I saw what looked like a pond or a possibly a pit. Where did I see? Right there. Something is right there. That is a huge mound. That does not look natural. Let's go see about it. What is this all about? It's got a lot of trees on it. Been there a while. But it doesn't look natural. Doesn't look natural to me. Take a look off of this real quick. Well, we're here. This is the mine pit. So this is the pit. The old mine pit. There is still some examples, some specimens of hematite in the bottom of this pit we can look at. Lordy, lordy. I don't think I can even walk down that and get back out. That is steep. So 145 years ago, men were in this, digging this out. I don't know if they had steam shovels, or how they were, if they were mining this by pick and shovel, or how they were doing it. This is a better place to go down in it. All right, folks. If you see the video, then you know I got out. So this mine here, they said some of the ore, the good stuff out of it, was over 60% iron in the rock. We are in the bottom of the Nova Scotia mine pit here from 1880. 1880 through 85 is when they were working this, or 84. And then they closed it. The deposit played out. The values got to where they weren't worth bringing out. You can see the iron in that rock. Pretty cool. Now the old blast furnace ought to be close to this pit. They wouldn't want to have to haul their ore very far. You would want it as close as you could get it, I would imagine. So third time was a charm. It took 3 trips over here to locate this. Yeah, you can see the iron in that rock. A lot of it. So this was just a deposit of iron in the rock here, and they dug it all out. Another thing that I read about this is they found some really large mushrooms growing down in the bottom of this, larger than normal. But I'm looking over here and I'm seeing some very large mushrooms. That's pretty cool. Look at these bad boys. These are the little white ones you get in your yard. But as you can see, that's not a little white one. This one's not quite as big. Man, I can't imagine how much effort went into excavating all this, bringing all that rock out. That is just amazing. So they started the operation in 1880, bringing the ore out of this deposit right here. And by 1884, they were done. It had played out. And in 85, they packed up and left. And they took their blast furnace a few years later. They packed it up and sent it off to Paducah, Kentucky. Put it back in service there. Okay, well, there's a little road here that runs off the back side of the mine pit. So we'll continue on down this little trail here. And I'd really like to find the blast furnace site and the old cemetery. There's a lot to be discovered down here. Right here we've got an old hand-dug well that's lined with rocks. Get a good look in here. You can see the rock stacked up there. Looks like it's been filled in mostly now, but that's a pretty big circle. That would be a real danger for somebody to fall into. I'm glad they did fill it. But you can see the rocks there. Well, we made another find down here where, I don't know, quite a ways below the mine. But this is the foundation, part of it, for the old blast furnace that was here. It's got trees growing up in it and everything else, but man, they seriously anchored this thing down so it wouldn't blow up and get away from them. But you can see the bolts here that they've anchored into the rock. These things are huge. So that bolt there is at least 1.25 inches in diameter. They got them all down through here. They've drilled into these stones and put those, anchored those bolts in there. And then they had something bolted down. I'm not sure how the blast furnace was constructed. It's probably 45, 50 feet across there, I would say, down the length of these. There's some more bolts that got anchored into it. Oh, it continues on. There's more foundation. It's pretty cool. I just don't know much about how blast furnace, how they built them. They were out of rock. They look like a big pyramid with 4 sides. And then I guess the crucible was in the top of it. Look at the size of that bolt there. Big old iron anchor. Threads on the end of it, running down into the rock. And those are quarried stones they're using there. And that's what the whole blast furnace looked like. I found a picture of it, and it's built out of stones that look like that. And they said it was like, I forget how tall. Pretty tall, 50 or 60 feet across, and at least that much high in height. There's an old bucket they were using for something, sitting on a bolt over there. So this is pretty cool. I'm glad I found this. I know I'm on the right spot here. So right here next to the old the blast furnace foundations that are left here, right in front of it is this. And this is a little water source, a pond they dug out. And I'm going to say the pipe that ran from the reservoir that they built, probably teed and part of it came here. This was to supply water for the foundry, or for the smelting. I'm not sure what they used the water for. But it looks like the reservoir's still leaking some water out into this. There's no inlet here. It's got to be from the pipe. So I'm not sure what they used the water for, but I read that the pipe ran to the blast furnace, and that's where we're at. So I'm going to say that this was a little reservoir they made to use. They may have been using small steam engines to run the blowers, to blow the force air into this furnace. These lower areas in this furnace, I just wonder if that wasn't where they were forcing air up underneath the charcoal in this thing to really superheat it. But I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know if they used steam for the blowers or how they forced the air into that thing. But anyhow, they did have a pipe from the reservoir, and it looks like it came here, or at least a tee off of it came here. So that's kind of cool. We're back in behind the old the blast furnace site, and we've got some pits that are dug out in the ground here. And these are where they were making charcoal. You can still see the charcoal in the soil. Big deep layer of charcoal. That's just a big pile of charcoal right there. So this is one of their little charcoal pits, and these things are all over down here. I've seen a bunch of them down in here. So they were burning the forest, they were burning the timber, and then making charcoal out of it to feed this blast furnace over here. But this right here, you can plainly see is just a big mound of it right here. That's all charcoal. And if you disturb it, you can actually smell it. It smells like burnt wood. All right, I wanted to show you one more thing, or look at one more thing while I'm in the area today. There's a sinkhole down the road a ways here that I found the other day when I was here, and it's almost perfectly round. It's just a classic, perfect example of a really large sinkhole that we have a lot of those here in the Ozarks. Here is the pit I was talking about, the old sinkhole. Let's look at this. Look at this sinkhole right here. This is just, it's perfect. Perfectly round. Isn't that sweet? So these sinkholes are just caves that used to be below the ground. And here in the Ozarks, in the limestone bedrock, when a cave gets opened up by ground or by water that eats the limestone away and makes the void down deep in the limestone, well, the caves migrate to the surface over time. The ceilings fall in on them. The limestone delaminates. It's laid down in layers. Slabs come down, so they fall off the ceiling, which makes the ceiling higher, and they fall onto the floor, which makes it higher. And then over, millions of years or however long, that keeps happening, and the cave just kind of migrates up through the bedrock. Eventually it gets to the surface, and the top of the cave, when it collapses the last time, poof, it leaves the the cave is moved to the surface now, so that's the hole, or the area that used to be underground. It'll be full of broken rock, that fell in, but over time, after that caves in, sediments and everything washes in on all that and smooths it all out, like you see right here. This is a really nice sinkhole. If you're into sinkholes, this is a good one. Nice flat bottom where the sediment and everything is washed in here and just smoothed this all out. If you dug down right here, dug through the dirt that's washed in, you'll find all the rock that fell out of the top of the cave under we're standing on top of it. That is a nice sinkhole, but it's nowhere near as big as that mine pit we were in. That thing was huge. Well, I just wanted to show you the sinkhole. I know most people aren't going to get too excited about a sinkhole, but I like sinkholes, so that's a good one. All right. Well, folks, I appreciate you all hanging out with me, tromping around out in the woods looking for a ghost town. We found part of it. We found the mine pit and the foundation where the old blast furnace was. And that old hand-dug well was pretty cool down there too. But we didn't find it all. We've still got the town site to find and the cemetery. I want to find that cemetery, which is right there at the town site. So we're going to come back and do that. Until I catch up with you again, y'all take care of yourselves. We'll catch you next time.